Hi, I would like to introduce Miss Peacock. Welcome to our school. We have a few questions that we would like to ask you. What do you do for a living?
Good morning. My name is Kathy Peacock. I am the sister of Miss Karen Chapman, who's also a celebrated teacher here at Durella. This is my 5th year in the reading program, and I also work for Miami-Dade Transit. I am a train control technician. When you're riding on the Metro Rail, when you're waving out the windows of the cars, look down. You may see me down there. I work on the tracks. I work on the signals, the switches, and everything that keep the train moving to give it the speed to open the doors. I am the brains behind the operation.
What is most important to you in terms of children learning about Black History Month?
The most important thing for me about kids learning about Black history is to expand their mind, to explore different cultures, to remember where you're coming from, and to know that everyone is equal, and it started a long time ago, that everything is going to be okay. We just have to love one another, and the most important thing is getting to know your culture as well as learning others' culture so that we can bridge the gap.
Tell me about an African American that inspired you to think of the ways that white kids should learn about Black history.
An African American that inspired me was my grandfather to learn about Black history. He owned the only Black barbershop in Palaca, a little town in North Florida called Palaca, Florida. And he was a barber, and he cut everyone's head, the judges, the lawyers, and on his meager salary, and the haircuts were like 10 cents a piece. He put my father through school. My father went to Family University, and also he took care of my grandmother, who was a homemaker, and he made history in his town, and they had a Black history program named after him. His name was Mr. Armand Peacock, the only barbershop in Palaca, Florida, Peacock's Barbershop. And that's my name, and that's our legacy.
Thank you for telling us about Black history.
Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for speaking with us today.
And I'm also an ambassador for the Trayvon Martin Foundation. Today would have been his 24th birthday. We're having a peace walk for all the kids to come out and enjoy the festivities and learn more about Black history and know what it's like to be able to be young again and just have fun. Because it is Black history, it's also everyone's history.
Thank you for speaking with us today.
You're welcome.
Hi, I would like to introduce Mr. Mitchell. Welcome to our school. We have a few questions we would like to ask you.
Okay.
What do you do for a living?
Fire rescue. Fire rescue for the city of Hialeah.
What is most important to you in terms of children learning about Black history?
One, that they remember their history, therefore it can have an impact on their present and their future and how they conduct themselves.
Why do you think that?
Because many times when you are aware of your culture and your heritage, it builds up your self-esteem and causes you to be a proud individual, and therefore you can have an impact on others that you engage in your culture.
Tell me about an African American who has inspired you.
My dad, he was a World War II vet. He was a very disciplinary. I had to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am in my household, zero tolerance for foolishness. And his motto was, if I don't straighten you out, the law will.
Thank you for talking to us.
Commercial?
Hello, I would like to introduce Maria Mallory White. Welcome to our school. We have a few questions we would like to ask you.
What do you do for a living?
I
have two positions. I am the co-pastor of the Emmanuel Temple Church in Pembroke Pines, and I also am the editorial manager at a ministry called Prison Fellowship.
Why do you like those jobs?
I like my jobs because both of them allow me to do what I know is my purpose in life to do, and that is to minister to people. So in my job at the church, I minister to people who are members of our church and who are members of our broader community. And in my other job, I participate in a ministry that is for people who are incarcerated or in jail or prison and their families.
What is most important to you in terms of children learning about Black history?
It's most important to me that all children learn about Black history because African Americans are a huge group that contributed to the history and well-being of not only this country but this entire planet. So we are not always out on the forefront in terms of our stories. So it's important to me that all children learn the stories of African Americans so that our stories can be valued along with everyone else's.
Why do you think that?
Think what?
Why do you think that was important for children to understand the meaning of Black history?
Because unfortunately, based on our country's history, there are a lot of stereotypes and misconceptions about African Americans. And so when we learn the history and contributions of African Americans, we can see a more positive and more complete picture of our story and contributions to this country and to this world.
Tell me about an African American who inspired you.
Probably the most inspirational African American in my life was my mother. She raised me after my father passed away, and it was just her. And watching her do all that she did in her life is definitely inspirational to me. I have others whose names I could call that you may or may not know, but they're in all different walks of life. When it comes to writing, Toni Morrison is my absolute favorite writer, and she inspires me. When it comes to things like politics, Shirley Chisholm, and you may learn about her at some point during Black History Month, she inspires me. When it comes to things like leadership and political empowerment, Martin Luther King Jr. and Fannie Lou Hamer and others during the Civil Rights Movement like that inspire me, and the list goes on and on.
Tell me one thing about those people, all those people that made you inspired, that made those people inspire you.
I think what is most important for all of them, including my mother, is that they lived lives that were more and bigger than just their own personal situations. They lived their lives in a way where they were serving others and trying to make the world better for everybody.
Thank you for talking to us.
My pleasure.